Hey everyone, Dave here with another Blu-ray DVD collection update video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of new releases that have been sent into me from Sanity over the last month or so. We've got a handful of titles here from Village Roadshow, Warner Brothers, and a handful of titles here from Universal's Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. There's a lot to take a look at, so let's get into it. Okay, so as I said at the beginning of this, we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of titles that have been sent into me from Sanity over the last month or so. I've actually just been overseas for the last 5 weeks. I just got home and I haven't had the chance to take a look at everything here, but I do just want to get this video done and out of the way so you guys can see all the latest releases to cover from, again, as I said, Roadshow and Universal Sony. Once again, Sanity, they don't have brick and mortar stores anymore. They closed all those down earlier in the year, but they do still have an online presence. So you can head over to sanity.com.au, pick up anything that you see in this video. At the time that I'm filming this, some of these aren't actually out yet, so you can pre-order some of these as well. And yeah, plenty of other stuff over there you can take a look at. So first up, let's have a look at the pile of releases here that have been sent in from Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. There's quite a few pretty cool ones right here. First up, we have the 4K release of the latest Fast and Furious movie, which is, of course, well, it says on the cover here, Fast and Furious X, but it was released into cinemas as Fast X. Don't know why they've suddenly decided to change the title for the home media release. Very odd. The titling of all the Fast movies is all over the place to begin with, let alone now that this movie has two different titles. Very strange. Anyway, this one is the latest one. Came out only a few months ago. I checked it out in cinemas and I really liked it. I like all of these movies. There's not really any of them that I dislike. They're a lot of fun. They're just dumb. They're stupid. And this one sees the team off on a globe-trotting adventure across Europe and in Italy and a whole bunch of places, and some crazy car stunts and, of course, explosions and all that kind of shit that you come to expect from these movies. I just had a blast with it. I thought it was a lot of fun. These movies are just going completely off the rail at the moment, so you just really have to just embrace it. Of course, Jason Momoa joins along as the villain of the film, and he's just terrific. He's delivers one of the greatest performances in any of these movies. So definitely check this one out. And of course, I got the 4K edition right here. Looks fantastic. Of course, all these great big blockbusters always look great on 4K with the HDR and the big booming sound and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to pick this one up, definitely go the 4K route. This is one I haven't had a chance to check out. In fact, I haven't really checked out many of these just yet, but I'm excited to take a look at this one. This is the latest Gerard Butler action flick. Of course, Gerard Butler, his movies aren't the best, but they're enjoyable, they're watchable, just to switch your brain off kind of movie. This one, I believe he's a pilot who has to make a crash landing on an island with a whole plane full of passengers, and they end up getting kidnapped, and he has to save them from this ruthless sort of gang who's kidnapped them. It also stars Mike Coulter, who you may recognize as, of course, Luke Cage from the old Marvel Netflix series. From what I've heard, this is actually a lot of fun. And as far as Gerard Butler movies goes, it's apparently like at the top of them, sort of one of the better ones. So I am looking forward to taking a look at that when I get the chance. Next one here is Book Club, the next chapter. This is, of course, the sequel to the first Book Club, which came out, I don't know, a number of years ago. It, of course, stars Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, Mary Steenburgen. I actually had to double check to see if I owned the first one, because I couldn't remember. And I do own it, and I have watched it, and I couldn't remember watching it, but I vaguely remember it. These older women, they start a book club, and they start reading all these sort of dirty, smutty novels like 50 Shades of Grey, I think is the book that they read in the first movie. And then it's one of these kind of older people falling in love sort of movies, and quite, from memory, from what I remember of it, quite enjoyable. Now this is the one where, of course, they go, well, let's make a sequel. What are we going to do? Let's go to Europe, of course, as they always do. So the ladies are off to Europe, jaunting around, reading smutty books, I'm sure, and falling in love and all that kind of stuff. I do look forward to that because I do have fun with these kind of romantic comedy ones, and I love these ones where you've got the older people falling in love too. They're always just a little bit of fun. Of course, a really great cast there too. This one here is one I'm very excited to check out. It is the John Farnham Finding the Voice documentary. Of course, of those of you out there who are my Aussie viewers, you know John Farnham. How could you not know Johnny Farnham? One of the greatest musical exports from our country. If you're overseas, you may not know him. I think I don't know how big he was, but he did make it to the UK. I have heard, in my time in the UK, I've heard a number of his songs played on the radio, but I'm not too sure how big he was anywhere else in the world. But anyway, this is a really great documentary on his life. This came out again a few months ago. I missed it in cinemas, but they played it on television not that long ago. It's only I think just before I went overseas, they played it on TV, and I caught a little bit of it, and it is really good. It sort of details his life and his career, and of course he's had some health troubles recently, and I'm just really looking forward to checking out the rest of it. As I said, saw some of it on TV and thought, I knew that the Blu-ray was coming out, and I thought I'm going to get my hands on that and then watch it all properly. So I'm really, really excited to have a look at this because my dad was a big fan of John Farnham when I was a kid. His music was always playing in the house, so I'm very, very familiar with his work. And of course, as an Australian, you just know Johnny Farnham's works. But yeah, I'm looking forward to taking a look at this one. It should be pretty cool. I like a good documentary. We've got a couple of DVDs here that have been sent in. Unfortunately, these two did not get Blu-ray releases, and particularly I'm a bit disappointed that this one didn't, because this is one that I'm very, very, very excited to have a look at. Everyone that I know who has seen it has said it is absolutely fantastic. It's called Polite Society, and it's about a younger girl who is a martial artist in training. She wants to be a stunt woman in films. And I don't know everything about it, but I believe her sister is getting married and she wants to stop the marriage, and then pulls together this team of her sort of martial artist friends to pull off some sort of wedding heist and try and stop the wedding or something like that. It's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek sort of action comedy, and what I've seen of it looks really great. And as I said, I know a lot of people who've seen this and have said it is fantastic. Disappointed didn't get a Blu-ray because, yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching this. And I don't watch too many DVDs, but I will make the effort to check this one out because it looks really, really good. I like a good sort of quirky action comedy. This is a British film too, so I always like the little kind of quirky British comedies. And we got this one here, which is called Love Again, which looks like a sort of really sappy romance drama. I believe the woman's partner dies, and she is so depressed that she starts sending texts to his old mobile number, and she gets replies from some other guy who she then kind of falls in love with over text. And from what I understand, Celine Dion, playing herself in her very first movie role ever, is hired by one of them to kind of bring them together. Don't ask me why or what, but yeah, it sounds a little bit sappy. From what I understand, it's not the greatest. It got some new songs from Celine Dion in there as well, if you're a fan of hers. But yeah, there it is, Love Again, right there. Might check this one out. Not too sure though, but so there you go. So that's the titles right there that have been sent in from Sanity sent in from Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment via Sanity. These are all out right now. I believe these have all kind of just dropped in over the last few weeks, so you can pick those up. Now let's take a look at these ones right here, which have been sent in from Village Roadshow, who of course handle Warner Brothers. So most of these are Warner Brothers titles. First up, of course, now at the time that I'm recording this, not too sure when I'm going to get the video up, but at the time that I'm recording this, these aren't out yet. These are coming out next week. I'll probably have the video up in time. So this one right here is the latest big blockbuster release to hit home media. It is The Flash, of course, the sort of controversial final installment in the DCEU, absolutely bombed at the box office, made no money, and sent this franchise out on an absolute whimper. It was critically panned, but audiences really seemed to enjoy this movie, and I'm in the camp that really had a lot of fun with this. I thought it was just not one of the best superhero movies ever made. I mean, these movies just kind of really feel... I love the disc on that, by the way. These movies just feel so generic so much of the time at kind of these days. But I had a bit of fun with this. I thought Ezra Miller actually delivered quite a good performance here. But of course, the main attraction for me was Michael Keaton returning as Batman for the first time since the early 1990s. So that was really cool to see him back in the cowl and doing his stuff. But yeah, this has come out on 4K as well. They didn't send me over the 4K. Village Roadshow is just kind of a little bit... It's a little bit unpredictable as to what format they'll send me, but this is available to pick up on 4K. And at some point, I probably will if I can get it cheap. But at the moment, I'm happy with the Blu-ray, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at that again because, like I said, I enjoyed that. And if you're on the fence, check it out because it is one of the better DC EU movies. This one here is a recent Australian film. It's called The New Boy. It's distributed through Village Roadshow, of course. And again, from everything I've heard, this movie is absolutely terrific. People are calling it one of the greatest Australian movies ever made. And in fact, on the front, The Australian called it a masterpiece and gave it 5 stars. It's from the award-winning director Warwick Thornton, who directed Sweet Country and Samson and Delilah, which are both absolutely gorgeous movies. And if there's anything like them, I know that this is going to be fantastic. And the movie depicts the mesmeric story of a 9-year-old Aboriginal orphan boy, played by Aswan Reid, who arrives in the dead of night at a remote monastery run by a renegade nun, played by Kate Blanchett, who supposedly delivers a really fantastic performance in there as well. Deborah Mailman and Wayne Blair also are in the film as well. A couple of really great Aussie performers. Really looking forward to checking this one out because I love my Aussie cinema, and when you get a movie like this that comes along, it makes us look good. Yeah, it makes us look good on the film front because Aussie cinema sometimes has a bit of a bad reputation. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to checking that one out. And this one here, I'm really looking forward to as well. It's called Joyride, and it just looks like a fun madcap kind of raunchy comedy. From what I understand, it's kind of in the style of The Hangover, that kind of road trip movie where a bunch of friends go off on on a crazy adventure, and all these kinds of weird and wacky things happen along the way, but of course it is a group of female friends who are played here by Ashley Park, Sherry Kohler, Sabrina Wu, and Stephanie Hsu. So a bunch of really great performers in there. And again, what I've heard from this is that it's really good. In fact, I'll probably check this one out this weekend because I'm looking forward to a good laugh. And there was a tweet that went viral. Some film critic tweeted out how he was offended that it makes white men look dumb and all this kind of shit, and it just makes me want to see this even more because it looks like a lot of fun. Now we've got 3 4K releases here, 3 back catalogue 4Ks. I wasn't sure that I was going to get these because again, it's a little bit unpredictable what Roadshow are actually going to send through to me, and a lot of the catalogue stuff they don't often send, but they may be aware that I'm a big fan of my classic cinema, so I'm guessing that's probably why these have been sent over. These are 3 that I'm very excited to get into my collection. Warner Brothers, of course, is celebrating, as you'll see right there, their 100th anniversary this year, just as Disney is, and they have gone through their archives and remastered a whole bunch of classic cinema and released them on 4K. These have all had new scans from the original film elements, so I've gone back and rescanned the original camera negatives or whatever the best available film source is, and I've done new 4K a new 4K master for all of these, and they all pull up looking really great. This one here is East of Eden. This is James Dean's first movie. Of course, he only did 3 before he passed away. Very untimely. He was only like 24 years old or something like that, but he left a really great legacy. East of Eden is probably, all 3 of these come with both a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. I'm not too sure if the new, I think the Blu-ray discs have the new transfer on them. Yeah, James, this is probably my least favourite of the 3 James Dean movies. The other 2, of course, being Rebel Without a Cause and Giant. It's sort of, it's a bit of a sappy melodrama kind of movie. It's based on that kind of, you know, sort of melodramatic sort of novel. And I think, particularly as James Dean's first role, James Dean wasn't really known at all before he passed away. He became big and well known after the accident. So this was sort of just a kind of a run-of-the-mill Warner Brothers movie that has in time become well known because of James Dean's involvement in it. But it is a great movie. It's just not my favourite one of his. It pulls up looking gorgeous. It was shot in Technicolor. I believe this one was shot in Technicolor. So of course, all the old Technicolor movies pull up looking really stunning in 4K, particularly with the HDR pass, and the colours are just stunning. This one right here, Rio Bravo, is one of John Wayne's great westerns. This one co-stars Dean Martin in one of his sort of few, I guess he did a handful of Western movies, and also Ricky Nelson as well is in there as well. This one, John Wayne, of course, plays a sheriff, and I believe one of them is a drunk, and one of them is something. It's been a while since I've watched so many John Wayne movies, they all seep into one. But he pulls together this kind of ragtag team to defeat an enemy. That's a classic, typical Western movie right there. But from memory, this is one of the better John Wayne films. His movies aren't always great, but this is one of the better ones. And of course, being released on 4K shows that it's one of the biggest sellers from the Warner Brothers archives, one of the best known ones. It's of course directed by the great Howard Hawks as well, who did so many great dramas and westerns and stuff. And again, this was not Technicolor. I think this was shot in Warner Color, which was sort of the Warner patented version of a Technicolor. A few of the studios had their own versions. Never looked as good as Technicolor, but this still holds up looking very, very, very nice. This one here is one that has surprised me. It's Enter the Dragon. It's one of, I guess, is probably Bruce Lee's best known or most beloved movie. He hit it big time with his great martial arts movies that he did with Golden Harvest Company. Very low budget, independent films. And when it came to doing this movie, he'd become very famous in America, particularly martial arts. He kicked off a whole martial arts craze. Again, another really cool disc right there. Kicked off this martial arts craze, and I think they were having a little trouble finishing the movie, with finances and stuff. So Warner Brothers actually stepped in to complete the movie. It gave them more funding and let them finish the movie, still on a shoestring budget and shot independently in China. But yeah, Warner Brothers financed it and retained distribution over it. And as such, the film has actually been looked after really well, and this pulls up looking great. If you've seen any of the Bruce Lee movies on home media, on Blu-ray, they've all been released. A lot of them look really shoddy because they were shot on really cheap film stock and just haven't been looked after over the years. But this pulls up looking very, very nice. Again, it's still a very movie made on a very cheap budget, but it pulls up looking very nice. It's got a really healthy grain structure. It's very, very crisp, unlike all the other Bruce Lee movies that I've seen on Blu-ray anyway. And the colours actually pull up looking really, really nice on this as well. Again, it wouldn't have been a particularly colourful film stock, but it does pull up looking very nice. I was very impressed by that. Not a huge fan of the Bruce Lee sort of martial arts stuff, but this is really good. This is really good. We've got a couple of DVDs here as well from Village Roadshow. We've got this one here. It's called You Hurt My Feelings. Don't know too much about this, but it's got a really great cast. Of course, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Tobias Menzies, and it's got David Cross in there as well, who is always really great. Again, I don't really know a lot about this. It comes from acclaimed filmmaker Nicole Holofcener, and it's a sharply observed comedy about a novelist whose long-standing marriage is suddenly upended when she overhears her husband give his honest reaction to her latest book. It's a film about trust, lies, and the things we say to the people that we love the most. I think this will be good. Julia Louis-Dreyfus has done a lot of really great movies recently. She's had this sort of later career renaissance, if you want to call it that. She's been doing really great sort of comedy dramas, dramedy kind of movies, and this is one that I'm looking forward to having a look at, and unfortunately only available on DVD, which is annoying. I hate it when they do that. This is the last one I'm going to take a look at. This is Children of the Corn. This is a remake. I didn't even know they had remade this. I think I saw the original one years ago. This is 2020, so it's taken... Is it right? Yeah, 2020. So it's taken a few years for this one to come out on physical media. In fact, on the back it says Shudder. So this may have been... Again, I don't know a lot about this, but I think this may have been made for the Shudder streaming service. So this may have been a Shudder original, which would explain why it's taken 3 years to come out on physical media. From memory, Children of the Corn is like these children who live in this kind of rural town in America, go on this mass uprising where they decide to slaughter all the adults in the town, slaughter them in these cornfields, and just really creepy kids. Haven't seen this one. Again, I didn't even know this had been remade. I'm sure it's probably nowhere near as good as the original film, but it's one that I'll take a look at some point. Unfortunately, again, not available on Blu-ray, which is strange because you'd think something like that would actually get a Blu-ray release. It seems kind of random how they decide what gets a Blu-ray and what doesn't. So anyway, that is everything we've been sent in over this. Again, as I said, these have all sort of come out over the last month or so. And I'm looking forward to the next wave of stuff, which is probably coming out in a couple of weeks. The release schedules have been really slow recently here in Australia. A lot of stuff comes out at once and then there's like radio silence. But anyway, if you want to pick up any of these or any other great movies and TV shows and merchandise and all that kind of crazy crap, you can head over to sanity.com.au and pick it all up. Thanks again to the teams over at Sanity, Village Roadshow, Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment for organising all of these, sending them over for my viewing pleasure and me to talk about. So, and of course, thanks to everybody out there for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Till then, take it easy.